Klaus KINZLER, an instructor at the University of Grenoble, has to fear for his safety even when doing daily errands, like buying vegetables at the market. What we're not supposed to show is that KINZLER has 2 police officers keeping constant watch over him. A few weeks ago, he was given police protection, as he's now a potential target for radical Islamists. It all started when a graffiti on a university wall accused him and a colleague of being Islamophobic.
Isn't it crazy? The fact that it's so easy for them to do this. I didn't even know about it myself. When it happened, I was flabbergasted. And all the more because no one was willing to defend me. First they accuse you, and then they throw you to the Islamists.
The graffiti sprayers belong to a student group that has been embroiled in arguments with KINZLER for years. The same group also posted a photo of him on social media channels. Islamist groups then shared it, making KINZLER a target.
We criticize Islamic fundamentalism, which is aggressive and violent. And during the past 50 years, these movements have also been able to become more influential around the world. It's an issue that affects immigrants too, as they are also the victims of Islamist propaganda.
At even higher risk of being targeted is philosophy teacher Didier LEMAIRE, who lives in Paris. For security reasons, the police refused to let us meet him at his home. Instead, this interview was conducted in a different apartment. In an open letter, LEMAIRE had called on France's teachers to oppose radical Islam, which in his view is growing more influential in schools.
Ils ont une emprise sur la jeunesse, ils ont une emprise sur la ville.
They've taken over young people's lives. Just a few weeks ago, I went back to my school to pick up my things, and I saw a 6 or 7-year-old girl wearing a veil, which is not a religious thing. It's worrying to see adolescents and even children being exposed to this sort of ideological pressure.
For his own safety, LEMAIRE was obliged to stop teaching.
I can no longer work in my profession and I'm not sure where to go from here.
Back in Grenoble, Klaus KINZLER is determined not to accept the same fate. He admits to being provocative towards his students at times, like when he openly questions whether Muslims in France are victims of Islamophobia. KINZLER, who used to be married to a Muslim, believes that these types of arguments are part of academic debate.
When you look back at your studies, you always remember the lecturers you argued with. But those debates taught us a critical approach. You'd argue with those lecturers, and afterwards, you'd go out with them to a bar.
The case of Klaus KINZLER has made waves at the University of Grenoble. Some students complain about his classes, saying he was always only interested in talking about Salafists. This law student, a Muslim, does not want to be shown on camera.
I didn't think it was an appropriate way of teaching. Students who don't know Islam and who might have simply wanted to try out his class might have gotten a very negative image of Islam because of the professor's subjective perspective.
But the student also disagrees with the way things have escalated.
This issue should have been settled within the university, and there should have been a dialogue involving the administration and the teaching staff. People shouldn't have to fear for their lives.
The French state is relying on tough laws in its fight against radical Islamists. But some academics argue that this makes it even harder to establish a culture of debate.
Mais en fait, qui s'adresse principalement à l'islam.
These laws are aimed at Islam in particular, and they give Muslims the feeling that the state doesn't want them here. This then leads to intolerant reactions from certain groups of young Muslims or young converts. So I don't believe that drawing battle lines will help find a solution.
Par conséquent, moi je crois que la solution n'est pas dans cette espèce de logique d'affrontement.
To continue the debate is what Klaus KINZLER in Grenoble is hoping to do too. He wants to keep on teaching despite the threats.
I have tenure. No one can stop me from continuing my classes in September. So that's what I intend to do.